Hello, hello, Kim Kunkel here, owner and designer over EasyDigitals.com, Photoshop backgrounds and templates for photographers. Today, I want to show you how to customize this Glory Dreams background that was created by one of my new designers, Ali, and I think he did an excellent job. I'm loving it, everybody's loving it, and I just want to show you how to customize it. So we're going to go from this to this, and let's go ahead and get started. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to open my background, and this is the background. And I'm going to click Control-0 to fit on screen. I'm going to open up my player. All right, so the first thing that I'd like to do is go over all these layers. We have adjustment layers, and I have a photo filter here. So if that's on, you can kind of arrow through these with your arrow and change the look of it. And once you add your player, this is a fun one to try and just see how it looks with different colors. And we have a brightness, which you can adjust if you want to add more or less. A color balance. Let's go ahead and click on that. You can adjust the colors here depending on what your photo needs, and you can also click through here and change shadows and highlights the same way. And I'm going to press Control-Z to undo that. Put my history here. I'm gonna go back to the beginning here. Okay, so we also have this crest layer. This crest layer has many folders inside of it, a lot of adjustments that you can make, and we're going to work on all these a little bit later when I customize this. You can turn off and on these icons so that you have the right icon, or you can just leave the icon completely off. The stars can be turned off. You can change the color. Just play around in here with all these different variations. Sometimes these middle colors look best. The lights, you may need to turn off depending on your composite particles. You may need to add some masks to this so that you cover up certain particles. The smoke we're going to move around. This is the top text, which you may or may not want to use, and you can just adjust that the way you would adjust any kind of text, and then you can turn off and on the layers depending on what you want to use. This is the main, if you have names that you want to add, or if you want to add a saying down here, you can change that text. Lights, you can turn those off and on. Big lights, these are the two lights on the side here, right here, and you can enlarge those or turn them off. Glow, the stadium layer, the night sky can be turned off and you have a black sky, or you can replace the sky with a different sky, including the skies that I have at EasyDigitals.com, and I'll put a link to that below. There's a shadow that you can turn off and on, and of course what's really fun about this is you can add this baseball ground or turn off the green stripe and just have grass. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started customizing this now that we've gone over all the layers. So I'm going to take my baseball player, and there's two ways you can copy a player into a template. You can right click it and click duplicate layer and then choose the template, and that actually put it on the wrong layer. So I'm going to come up here to my red your player here. This is a smart object. Anytime you're going to be working with something like this that you're going to be resizing, I totally recommend changing it to a smart object. And to do that, you right click it and click convert to smart object, but this one is already a smart object. So that way, when I resize it, I'm not going to change the pixelation, and I'm not going to be getting it really pixelated. So that's the reason for that. So I'm going to go ahead and put this in, and I'm resizing it, as you can see, by grabbing the little corners and pressing enter. And I'm going to move this off to the side. and make it a little bit bigger. I'm pressing shift down while I'm doing this to so that it doesn't lose any, it doesn't get distorted. The crest is obviously in the way, so we're going to take the crest, this whole little folder right here, as long as I select this and I have the whole thing then. And you might want to make sure you have auto select group, but I don't have auto select checkmarked. So when I select it over here, it's not going to try to grab anything else in this situation. So I can move this wherever I want. And while it's like this, I can resize it as long as I have the whole thing. Oops. Oh, geez. Control Z. So that's how that's resized. And then when you go to change the text on these, it's a little bit different because you have to change 3 unless you decide that you don't want to do that, in which case you can just turn off the other 2 and only change 1. But while I'm doing this, I'm going to turn off the other 2 and I'm going to change this. Then I'm going to turn off that one. I'm going to turn off that one and turn on this one and change it. I'm selecting it all. So then if I turn these others on, now what might happen is you might see that it looks messed up, and in that case it probably means you had a typo and they're not all exactly the same. So you just need to look at them over carefully and make sure that they're right. So then you can come down to this one and you can change it to whatever you want, the exact same way. And on all these you can also change the colors. Oh, here's a color, and you can just change it to whatever you want. And you can also change the effects. So it has all this stuff you can add. Drop shadow, inner shadow, all these things you can play with. And then we change the number the exact same way. So let's say for this one I had MVP, and MVP, and it doesn't really fit. So what I did with this one, oh, and also has a shadow layer, and if this comes unclipped, it's gonna look strange. So you need to make sure that if you don't have that little right angle, that you right click it and click create clipping mask so that it's clipped, because that's what's causing the shadow in here. And you may need to even make it a little bit bigger depending on like how much your words are covering this. So I am going to take these 3 layers and I'm going to press shift and I'm going to, oh wait, control Z. Actually, I don't want the shadow layer. Press enter. Okay, these 2. And I'm going to make this smaller and press enter. So one of the things I see here automatically is I don't really like the way it fits in there anymore. So I could stretch it, and that's, I mean, that's one solution. I used to never stretch text like that because I thought it looked distorted, but I think it was maybe just a little overboard for me to think to never stretch text. You could find a font that would cover that space better, or you can stretch it. I think it looks fine, but let's just say we don't want to do that. I'm going to go back and I'm going to show you how to use this warp tool. And I just kind of, from playing around with this, came up with a bulge that looks pretty good. And it usually looks pretty good at 25 if you have letters. So you have to do it on both of those, and then it matches up. So that's one way you can handle that. And I think that looks pretty cool. But, or we have a football icon for baseball. So let's go turn that off, and that will be in the crest. And we're going to change it to baseball. And we're going to change the color just because we can. I can sample a color in his uniform, or I can just choose a color that I like. In which case you may need to change this because it may be too dark. So we can make it white, or we can make it golden. I kind of like whitish. Okay, so that is how to change that. I don't think there's a lot more I need to tell you about the crest. This is the base of the crest. There's a lot of really nice shadowing in the crest, and you really don't need to worry about that as long as you just select everything at one time when you make those changes. So let's go to the smoke. All right, I'm gonna click my auto select layer. Actually, I don't want to auto select. Okay, so I have my smoke here, and it's not really positioned very well, and it's too small, so I'm gonna grab the corner of it and I'm gonna make it bigger. I'm gonna press Enter, Control 0 to fit on screen so I can see this layer in its entirety. And then I'm gonna position this behind my player, and then I'm gonna take this other smoke and I'm gonna do the same thing. And it's not grabbing anything else because I have the auto select off, which just can drive you crazy if it's on. And you can also turn it so it fits exactly how you want it to. You can stretch it. And as you know, if you've watched any of my other videos, I love to do a outer glow on my player. So that's an option too. Double click it, click outer glow. I change it to white. I usually make it as big as possible. I then right click it, create layer. Then it's a separate layer. And then I can come under filter, blur, Gaussian blur, and I can make it big. And then I can reduce the opacity if it's too much. So you just kind of look at it and decide. This confetti is over his eye, which I don't like. So I'm going to come down and figure out where that is, which I think it's confetti is around here somewhere. Where are you, confetti? There it is. So if I turn it off, you can see that it's gone. So I can come over to this mask. I can either put the confetti behind him, but if I want to integrate the confetti in front of him, then I can just mask off the parts that are bothering me. So I select the mask, I come over to my brush, make sure I have a soft brush, and I have black selected, and I can just brush off the confetti, make sure that the flow and opacity are 100, and I can just make sure that I don't have any confetti on his face. And then I press Control 0 to fit it on the screen and see where I'm at. If like this one piece bugged me because I didn't know that it looked like confetti, then I could get rid of it. Just depends on, you know, what you want to do. As far as this text down here, probably for this situation, I would turn it off. But if you did have a team, you can change this text just like how we changed the text on every other section of this. So I am going to turn that off, and I'm going to turn off the shape. The shape here, you can change that to any color by just double clicking it. And the lights are here, so you can turn those off and on. Okay, so let's see what happens if I want to bring in a sky. So this is a sky from my Perfect Sky set, and I'm just going to separate it and come over here to the sky layer and drag. This is the other way you can drag things in. I'm going to drag it in, position it by pressing Shift and press Enter. Now what happens is you have the sky down here. So there's a couple of things you can do. You can either mask that out with a mask. I'm going to add a mask and my brush, and I can just make it really big and I can mask it out. Or I can just push the sky up, just because it doesn't have to be perfect. Nobody will know. So that is how you can add a sky. And then you can do this, you can add an adjustment if you want to try to get it to match better. So let's say I did hue saturation and I right clip, and just so that it just affects the sky, clip it to the sky, and I can adjust the sky, or I could add a filter or a color, create clipping mask, and I could change the sky, and I can just arrow through until it's a color that I think goes well with my background. And then I can increase it if I want. Or you can even pick your own color. You can just pick any color and match it. So that is how to change out the sky. Okay, so you can do the same thing to the player. If you feel like he doesn't match, you can add a filter just to him. And you can right click it if you only want it to affect him, and create a clipping mask, and that means it's only going to affect the layer right underneath it. Again, you can go through these and you can make whatever adjustments you want, or you can put a filter on the whole thing and kind of blend it that way, which I really like to do because then the whole photo has that kind of look. One more thing I want to show you how to do is how to just do an auto curves on the player. So if I thought, well, the player just doesn't look bright enough, I wonder what curves thinks about it, then I can come over here and I can click auto and see what Photoshop thinks I should do to it. And I may like it and I may not. So I can also do that with the whole entire photo or the whole composite. I can click curves, the top here. Let me move it up, and then I can just click auto, and that's what curves thinks I should do. Also, I can do the same thing with levels, auto, and I may like that and I may not. One thing I like to do when I'm completely finished is I like to merge it all, and I like to see what it looks like with like RadLab. And let me get this into the right size for you to see it. Okay, so anyway, I like to look at what I can do to it in RadLab, and I can put a link to RadLab underneath this. It's just really, for me, it's a chance to go like that step further and just play with it. Like this looks kind of cool. It took some of the color out. Let me see. I just like looking at these thumbnails, and sometimes you can get a better idea of the overall color by looking at a thumbnail. A lot of times I like to do about Magic glasses and lights on sometimes, but not for this one. Oh Snap is one of my favorites. So it's just, for me, it's a brainstorming program, and that's why I like it so much. I can immediately see all kinds. This almost makes it look, you know, older. That could be a finishing touch. That's totally up to you. But I do that with some of my photos. And sometimes people ask me, how do you get it to look the way you get it to look? And sometimes I just run it through a last minute filter like RadLab or Alien Skin. Exposure 5 is a good one because you can see a lot of different things that you can do with it. I love my filters just because it gives me a chance to really push the creativity and see lots of different options. So this is exposure 5. Get this on here. And as you can see, look at all these options. And this is just under color films. So really kind of pretty cool to be able to play with all this. All right. So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Please let me know if you have any questions about this product, and I will be glad to make additional tutorials if I need to. Have a creative day. and another brightness. Not sure why there's two brightnesses, but the stadium, I'm not sure why this is locked. I'm gonna unlock that. And to do that, you right click it and you click on create new, and to do that, you right click it and you click create, convert to, and to do that, you right click it and click convert to smart object. But this one is already a smart object. Letters, and this is what I also have on, if you got okay, so let's see what would happen if we wanted to change out the sky. So I'm going to bring in a sky from 136, was it 100 and